Lewis, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here on the show. I guess we'll start with this. You can probably tell my voice is all scratchy and raspy and I'm battling a cold. Your style of kind of yell comedy, screaming comedy, do you have like a secret to making sure your voice stays healthy enough so you can always give people a good lashing when they come to see you?
I drink a lot of water before a show. And then I kind of have learned over time how not to yell so much, but then occasionally, like recently, so I got so wrapped up in my own nonsense that I yelled way too much. So every so often, I kind of crossed the line. But mostly, I got a pretty good idea of just how far to go.
Do people come up to you and want you to yell at them?
No, but they want me to give them the finger.
Which, do you? Is that something you're open to, or is that a usual no, like, I'll give you a smile?
Sometimes they do that, or they want to it's really more they want to take a picture of me doing it, or to write a note to somebody telling them, a friend or a brother or something to tell them off. So, but mostly they're pretty nice.
All right.
And they just want a regular picture.
Those are the good ones. Lewis Black joining us here on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline, comedian, coming to Durham on Friday. Lewis, I was looking you up doing some research. UNC graduate back in 1970. So we're here in the Triangle in North Carolina. What was your favorite parts of UNC and Chapel Hill back in the late 60s?
Well, there was some really the old campus of UNC. As a matter of fact, I was going down there. It was I was going to transfer out of the University of Maryland my sophomore year, and I went down to Durham to see Duke. I had two old and good friends there who were still there, and I went there, and I was going there. But before I got there, I stopped in at Chapel Hill and walked on the old campus and said, "Oh, wait a minute, this is where I want to be." And I just kind of fell in love with it. And then I said, well, I'll go see my friends at Duke when I get a chance. And that was it. I spent a lot of time at Duke when I was there and a lot of time at UNC.
Now, did you already know you were in the performing arts and excited about being on stage when you came here, or was that a seed that was planted right here in our neighborhood?
I knew that I kind of... I knew I was interested in doing theater, not so much performing, but writing. But I did everything I could. I took all sorts of courses, hoping I'd find something else to get me so that I wasn't doing that, because you kind of go, really? Nobody in the family, there was no history of it. You know, I knew that kind of I'd have to, if I was going to pursue this, I'd end up being a teacher. But it worked out. That was really where I pursued it. It was great to be. Chapel Hill was great because it turns out the guy who was the head of the department passed away 2 weeks after I arrived, and as a result, since I was able to do whatever I wanted because the guy in charge kept saying, "I'm only the acting chairman, so I can't really tell you no or yes. So I just go ahead and do whatever I wanted."
Well, that sounds like absolute like a playhouse for somebody that has done so much like you have. You bring up the teacher.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you something. We ended up. I wrote a show there that got a great review in the Rolling News and Observer that I wrote for students that I knew and was working with, and we ended up touring the state with it.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's pretty darn cool. You bring up being a teacher, so I just have to use that as the segue. You're in a movie. You're in a bunch of movies that I really enjoy, but one that I absolutely love is Accepted from the mid 2000s, where you actually played a teacher for like a hilarious. I mean, go watch the movie would be my advice. But do you hear about that movie a lot? I feel like, I'm in my early to mid 30s, and it's a movie that I've almost has 100% approval rating from people my age whenever it pops up.
Oh yeah, no, it got ridiculously bad reviews and the most extraordinary afterlife, because after it kind of left the theaters, folks in your age group started renting it and doing all stuff. Back then when you could rent it or download it, whatever, and it became a massive hit outside of theaters. It was great, and it was fun to do, and they let a lot of that what was in there were ad libs of mine, and I love that movie. And constantly, there were people who didn't know I'd been doing stand up for a while, and was on the Daily Show, and there were people who kind of found me through that movie.
And well, if they didn't know you're doing stand up, you've been doing it for 35 plus years, according to this information in front of me, as a touring stand-up, but that's coming to an end. You recently announced it's kind of your final comedy tour, Goodbye Yeller Brick Road, the final tour. We're a sports show. We see this with athletes where it's frustrating. It's like, hey, you still got the fastball. Why are you hanging it up? Why now for the end of the touring act? I kind of want to do some other things. I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, I'd have been retired by the end of the pandemic and been doing other stuff. Here's something we learned from the pandemic. I had a 5-year plan. That's what I had. Well, screw that. And anybody who's listening, what's your 5-year plan? My 5-year plan is to not plan anything. That's my 5-year plan, jackass. Because as a result, I really had to postpone it, and I've got other stuff I want to do, and I want to be able to spend more time down in Chapel Hill in the Durham area. I've still got friends there, and enjoy things, and write another play and write a book. Well, I'll give you, if you ever are in this area and you need to scratch the performing itch, we have a studio here. We have a show every afternoon. You're more than welcome.
Well, I may show up just out of sheer boredom of not being able to yell about stuff.
I am very with that. By the way, for everyone in the area, he will be here in the area in Durham this Friday at the DPAC. Yep. If you want to start your weekend laughing, tickets, Ticketmaster, dpacnc.com. Check them out. Last one before we let you go. We're big on lists in the sports world. We're big on rankings in the sports world. So I'll put it this way for you. You're in charge of building the Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedy. You have to put 4 faces on it. You're the ultimate decider. What 4 faces are going on the Mount Rushmore? Well,
George Carlin.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Richard, I see the lineage from him to your style.
Yeah, Richard Pryor. Then wrong. I would put Lenny Bruce, and then I would also put. She's not really a stand-up, but she's really one of my favorites, Lily Tomlin.
There it is. Second Lily Tomlin reference on this show alone today. I'm always happy when we can work in as many Lily Tomlin as we can.
Well, that's funny. She's the best, and she's a great human being, so it's good.
And is there like maybe a younger comic, a modern, whatever, this generation of comics that maybe you could see?
Younger is. She's. But the best comic working now, I think, is Kathleen Madigan, who's. I don't know if you've had her on the show.
Not yet.
Very sports. Well, get her because her sports knowledge is off the charts. It really is, and. Of all of my friends, she's the best golfer, and she's the funniest. And then there's a guy named Ted Alejandro, who I've always enjoyed. And then there are a number of other guys and women who are out there that I could sit here and list for a while, but I need to sell tickets to my show.
All right, which is this Friday at the DPAC in Durham. Go ahead and check it out if you want to start your weekend laughing. Lewis, we appreciate you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to one of those drop-ins when you're in the Triangle.
You got it. I will track you down. I'm not kidding.
Perfect.
So we'll see you then.
Sounds good.